South Dakota has some of the most wholesome, down-to-earth, kind people as a whole.
Oh, yes.
That we've met in all of our places that we've traveled so far. Everybody was treated you like they'd known you forever. Everybody was your friend.
And I'm digging through and I'm setting. I'm like, okay, this got a broken snap on it, and this one's missing a button. So I'm thinking I'm helping and putting the stuff up on the bar or the counter there. And when I went to buy it, I'm like, okay, well, I put these here. They're broken. He goes, just put them back up there. Somebody will buy them, and they're not going to come back, so it doesn't really matter.
I remember that.
It's like, oh, my God.
And then he goes, would you like some wine? And that's where I got free wine.
Yeah, that's right.
He gave me some free wine. He goes, come here, I'm going to give you a free glass of wine. I'm like, I'm not driving. Hell yeah.
That was so funny, but it was every time they're trying to sell you this, they're trying to sell you that, and it was...
Behind me, I hear this guy go, oh, you were at Paddy O'Neills.
You ate dinner at Paddy's.
And I turned around and I was like, how do you know? He goes, I remember the hat.
Y'all were talking to everybody.
He goes, you were just hopping around table to table, just talking to everybody, having a good time. He goes, it was great.
Hello, and welcome to Old Man Energy. I'm your host, Flint Anderson. And joining me as usual is my invisible co-host, Dez. We thank you for being here. If this is your first time, I hope you guys enjoy it and have a good time with us. And if you are coming back for more, well, thank you even more, because we spend our time talking about modern day society, masculinity, pop culture, and our relationship and the challenges we had raising 7 kids and making that transition into adulthood. Helping them.
Old adulthood.
Old adulthood.
For
Empty
us.
nester syndrome. That's what they call it. All right. Today, we want to talk about COVID. Indirectly, we want to talk about COVID. We actually want to talk about Dez's 50th birthday and the year after that. We were supposed to go to Ireland for her 50th birthday, and COVID screwed that up. We weren't able to go. Travel restrictions her birthday's in April. Travel restrictions were being lifted, but
no guarantee.
You couldn't travel internationally. Europe was still on pretty tight lockdown. And so we're trying to figure out what to do. And she was adamant about not staying in Florida. I'm sick of Florida. Because I was like, well, we can go to the Keys. But I've been to the Keys before and been all over the state, really. I'm trying to figure out what to do. And I was like, well, hell, why don't we go to South Dakota? We've never been to South Dakota, and they didn't lock down.
At all.
No. Kristi Noem, I think, locked her state down a little less than DeSantis did here. So amazing time. Had no idea what we were getting into. Had never been to that part of the country, even though we both grew up out west. And I don't know. That's going to be the beginning of this story. Just all the different excitement and the different stuff that we did out there. We liked it so much that we went back the next year for her birthday again, so we could do all the stuff, hypothetically, that we weren't able to do the first time. We still did not get everything done.
No, we went 11 days this time.
Yeah, we went 11 days for the second time, stayed out there. Des likes to do a lot of internet research. She's really good at that. So once we decided we were going there, decided we wanted to go to Rapid City. So there was... Rapid City and I guess Sioux Falls was the other one that we could have gone to, both on separate sides of the state. So in going to Rapid City, it was fairly close to everything. Rapid City sits about 45 minutes from Mount Rushmore, same from Deadwood. Actually, I think it's a little closer than that to Mount Rushmore, but and then it's about an hour from the Badlands. So looked like fun. And tell us how you picked the hotel and which hotel you picked, because it's cool. This is a fun story.
I absolutely love older hotels. I love older buildings. I love older homes. I love everything old with history. Just love the way they feel when you walk in. There's so much happened in those places so long ago and for so long that it's just, I love it. I absolutely love everything about that. And so I actually did a search for one of the oldest hotels in South Dakota, and it come up. I don't know if it was the only one there, but I remember that the Alex Johnson was on that list. And I started researching it and looking at the photos and all that. And I didn't even look at another hotel, not another one. And we stayed there.
And the Alex Johnson is, I don't know if you can look it up. It's a very cool hotel. Not only a lot of history there, but just a cool hotel that's in downtown. I don't know if there's a bad view from the hotel. We were able to look out over some of the historic streets. Rapid City has a very historic, it's not even a skyline, I guess, because those old West towns, they're not really skylines. They're more like street lines. They only have 2 elevators. I think they have more than that now, but there was no service elevator. So everybody went up and down in the same elevators, no matter whether you were celebrity status, whether you were a cook, whether you were room service. Everybody went the same.
So the Alex Johnson it broke ground October 3rd, 1927. It was one day prior to Mount Rushmore's construction when it began. I guess they would call it the first explosion, whatever they did. So it was one day before Mount Rushmore broke ground or construction started. So that's how old it is. So it's pretty old. And then over the years, it's been different hotels. I don't know when Hilton purchased it. I never looked into that, but Hilton purchased it and they turned it into one of their curios. And they've kept a lot. I mean, of course, they had to change the rooms and accommodate for. Anyways, how many floors is it, Flint?
8 or 10.
11? Is it 11 floors?
Maybe. I don't remember. All these facts. I thought we looked all these facts up.
We did. I thought I had them all down here for you.
Well, we didn't apparently. So anyway, one of the cool things about the hotel, there's a lot of cool things about the hotel. One of the cool things that we liked is there's an Irish pub in the basement.
Paddy's.
And that's Paddy O'Neills. And it was named after the first guest. All of our Rapid City friends that are watching this, if we're getting this wrong, then please shout us a correction in the comments. But
yeah, he was the first guest.
We're pulling from memory. And then there is a very nice bar and restaurant at the top called the Vertex, where it's actually on the roof of the Alex Johnson. You can sit up there and overlook the city. They've got some fire pits if it's chilly up there, and just a very nice experience. We spent several times kind of bouncing back and forth between the two. Especially if the weather was inclement, because there was, I don't remember if it was the first or the second trip out there, but there was a couple of days where it was cold.
It was our second trip because it was.
And the cold wasn't a big deal. It was the wind. It was 40, 50 mile an hour. And it wasn't gust. It was just solid blowing and blowing and blowing. We watched it blow the roof off and loose off of one of the shorter buildings that our suite was overlooking.
Well, I was watching out the window because we really couldn't go outside. I mean, it was blowing that hard. And the pigeons would land on the roof and they would hop. They'd be blowing backwards. They'd hop 20 feet backwards, and then they'd try to fly forwards again and land. And then it was just kept pushing them back and forth. I sat there for a long time. I should have watched it, but I was mesmerizing.
It was pretty funny. We didn't really leave the hotel those couple of days, and I had to work a little bit while we were out there. So it kind of balanced out. It gave me some time to catch up on paperwork and just stuff that I needed to do via the laptop. But yeah, we stuck close to the hotel those couple of days because it was miserable outside, just super cold.
Yeah. So they kept a lot of the flooring and everything's all the same from the 1920s. Just go check out the Alex Johnson. Go look at the inside. A lot of the decorations are the same. It's such a cool place. And like Flint said, there was 2 elevator shafts that went up. And service elevators and
the regular they just had 2 elevators.
Just 2 elevators.
Service elevator.
When we went back the following year, they were fixing to change them out, and I was kind of sad because the elevator still had that. When you get down to the bottom, it had that really seductive voice that would say "first floor."
Oh, they did it at every floor. It was hilarious. I was like, man,
second floor.
Yeah, the elevator's seducing me.
But the
lobby.
Yeah, lobby. But over the years, some very famous people had stayed in this hotel over the years. And they have a huge wall of the different people, presidents, actors, actresses, really, really, really cool place. So go check that one out. And it's cheap to stay there, especially in the off season. It was cheap. What was it like?
I was between $70 and $100 a night. I don't remember, but it was less than a suite was less than a regular hotel room usually cost us in Orlando.
It's great, guys. Go check it out.
It was, and now granted, we were there in April, which is pretty much the off season. But the first year we got there on a Saturday. The next day was Easter Sunday.
Yep.
And nothing was really open, so we went to the Badlands because they were open, and it was 80.
Yeah, it was nice.
I remember it was great. We got out there and I don't know. Now we go directly into the Badlands. But man, if you've never seen the Badlands, you've never seen anything like that. I mean, you see pictures of it on TV and sometimes on movies and stuff like that. But when you get out there and see that in real life, it is incredible territory. Just I don't even know how to describe it.
How far away is the Badlands from Rapid City?
Scratch my head because I was thinking, hour and a half.
I don't
think it was that far. I know it was at least an hour, but I don't remember. And it really depended on which entrance you went into the Badlands, because one of them was 30 minutes further. Like you go into the first entrance and go out the far entrance, or vice versa. You can drive past through Wall and then come back in that way.
Why is it not pulling it up for me?
I don't know. Maybe you're looking it up wrong. Yeah, to give some background, it took 30, 40 minutes just to straight drive through the Badlands. And you don't have to hike. If you're not a hiker and you just want to go drive, you can see bison, you can see prairie dogs. It was about a 30, 45-minute drive.
It's a bighorn sheep. Is that what they have there?
Yeah, bighorn sheep. They walk on the walls. It's crazy.
The straight up walls. It's the craziest thing. It's 56 minutes. It is 62 miles from Rapid City.
62 miles.
And in between that is Wall, correct?
Yeah. Well, Wall kind of sits at the exit, at one of the exits. There's two main entrances to the Badlands. It makes a big loop through there, and you go up and down the side of the cliffs, and you go down into the basin for a while and you come back up. But Wall is a giant, the whole town's just a giant tourist trap.
That's a whole nother history thing there, and I didn't put that one on there. So anyway, go back to the Badlands.
Okay.
One of our things that we did there, we went hiking. There are trails there. We did our favorite trail, and I guess it's everybody's favorite trail, is the Notch Trail, Notch, Notch Trail. And it's about a mile long, I guess. What did it say? It's a moderate hike, 1.4 mile trek.
Do you remember? So we get there. I got to tell this before you talk about that trail. So we get there and we got the backpack, and we brought water with us, and I'm start loading the backpack up. I'm just like funk, put probably 10 or 12 bottles of water in the backpack. And she goes, "What are you doing? This trail's only a mile and a half long." And I said, "It's dry out here. It's 80.
Yeah.
I said, you grew up in Kansas, but I don't know if you did a lot of hiking. I grew up in New Mexico and West Texas, and man, you get dehydrated quick. We drank all but 2 of those bottles of water over the course of that trail because it was so dry there and in the 80s.
Yeah, it was pretty great.
But she was laughing at me. She was convinced I was an idiot.
So the Notch Trail, we don't want to talk about that. The Notch Trail is great because at one point you can take this ladder. I don't know. Did the ladder have a name?
I don't think so. It looks like a regular ladder from a distance when you're coming up on it.
But you get up on it, and it's like fence post, and it takes you out to an over place to see over.
Mm-hmm. And overlooks, you're looking down into the valley over the cliff.
Yeah. And then as you're coming back, you can go down into another like valley area, and you can walk out that way if you want, or you can take the ridge back and you can take the ladder down.
And if you go down into the valley, you can't see where you're going because it's like in between the buttes, and they're taller than you, significantly.
Yeah, it's like an old, just like where the water used to run. It's just cut out.
It's like a wash.
So we decided to go back down the ladder. So I went down, and then I started filming Flint coming down.
And I have an aversion to heights.
I had no idea. We've been together all these years, and I had no idea this was bothering him. He was a trooper, though, and he came down, and he's a little sweaty, and I was like, wow, that was the slowest descent I've ever seen in my life.
I was like, what am I going to do? Shit.
And then this guy came behind us. So then tell the story about the guy that came behind us, the roofer.
The guy goes behind us, and he walked down the line. And I don't mean turn around and climb down it. He had a glass in his hand, and I'm pretty sure it had a drink in it. I mean, a drink, like an alcoholic
Well,
drink.
I think they were from there because he said they go out there all the time.
Well, he said they went out there all the time, but he walked down it face first. Did not turn and use it like a ladder. He just walked down it. I'm like, dude, you've been here before. He goes, I'm a roofer. He goes, I do this all the time.
It was pretty impressive.
That isn't even steep. I'm like, what?
It was impressive.
He never even sloshed any liquid out of his glass. It was just like nothing. I'm like, God, I really feel stupid now. Okay, never mind. I'm not afraid of heights anymore.
Oh my God. There's several trails out there. We did the Notch. Let's see what else. They have the Door Trail. We did the Door Trail.
It looks over that same valley from a different one, but through like just a giant hole.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
And then the window. No, I think that
was the window trail.
And the door, I can't remember what the door was. And then the fossil exhibit, which is it's a
It's like a loop.
It's got the walkway that they built.
Mm-hmm.
What am I trying to say here? The planks,
it's a boardwalk.
Boardwalk. God, why couldn't I think of that? It's a boardwalk, and it's got fossils from all the stuff that they found there.
Mm-hmm.
Such a cool place. Such a cool place.
And we went back the second time. We did some different trails in different parts of the park. Walked up to some of the giant rocks that were balancing.
Yeah, we have some really cool pictures we'll have to share.
Hiking up because it's open. You can hike pretty much wherever you want, but they warn you. Tell somebody where you're going. Yeah, I mean, just like any hike, but yeah, it's easy. And everything, when you're in the middle of it, everything looks the same.
Yeah.
Because you can't see out because the buttes and everything are so much taller than you. And that was a bit unnerving, but as long as you followed the well-marked path or you had a good sense of direction, it was fine. But yeah, that was, we got some really interesting pictures the second time. And then driving through, you see the sheep literally just standing hundreds of feet up in the air on the sides of the little tiny ledges. You can't even see what they're
not even ledges. They're like straight up.
Yeah, you can't even see what they're standing on. They're just look like they're standing on the side of the wall, and they don't fall. They go hopping around like they're just like you and I are walking.
They scratch the side, and I guess they're like going after maybe the grass that's growing out the side, or I don't know what it is, but it's amazing.
Cool. You don't see a bunch of dead sheep in the bottom of the valley.
Well, we didn't get close enough to see if there's any dead sheep down there.
I don't know, but it didn't look like they fell. They were just on it. And then the prairie dogs, there was tons and tons of prairie dogs coming in.
They're everywhere. Sorry, I'm trying to eat while we're doing this. There were tons, and they're just like, I couldn't even begin to tell you how many there are.
There was, well, I don't know. There's estimates somewhere online about how many, but the prairie dogs and the bison are at one particular end of the park. And I called them buffalo my whole life, but apparently that's not the right terminology. They're actually bison.
Are they bison or I don't even know?
They're bison because they explained to us the one guy in Wall explained it to us. The bison they're American bison, but the settlers some of them started calling them buffalo because they look like water buffalo without the horns.
You paid attention more than I did.
They got misnomered, so to speak. So it was they're actually bison. They're huge. I thought, man, I've been around cattle before because I grew up in West Texas. No, it's not the same. Some of them were as big as a car.
The car we were driving, we had a little.
Yeah, we had a little rental.
But
and we turned that sucker in.
Sorry, I'm eating. Can you tell I'm eating?
Yeah, I can tell you're eating. We turned that sucker in dirty. It was dusty because it wasn't raining when we were out there.
Check out the Badlands. Badlands was a lot of fun. If we go back. When we do, we'll go back out to the Badlands because there's. Did you give them how much? What is there? How much for the?
I don't know. Our notes don't have the square footage. It's like 256 acres.
It's 200. I wrote it down. It's 242,756 acres total.
Good God.
And which is rough. It's roughly 279 square miles. So I mean, it's big.
Yeah,
it's big, and it's something like you'll never see. It's like another planet because you can't. It's like a planet, a different planet.
It looks like alien territory.
It does. It's pretty great. What else did I have on there? I think that was it. Just the trails, and then
We'll talk about Wall a different time because that's more of a tourist trap. But
Wall was
really
it's a tourist trap, and it started back when they were doing they sold the land out there, and it was a stopover because there's just nothing in between, and it was like a mercantile or something back then.
They had ice water. It was a drugstore. They had ice water.
So and it's just grown. It's a tourist trap, but it's lovely. It's so lovely.
You could still get free ice water there,
and they got the donuts there.
I don't know what was the big deal about the donuts.
I don't know. There's a whole history behind the donuts.
They were just
They're just regular old donuts. They're not crispy
donut. It wasn't super great.
They're not Krispy Kreme donuts.
Krispy Kreme donut.
But
you're talking to the fat boy.
It's a great place.
It was a Krispy Kreme.
It's a great place.
We had a burger there. I think it was at the Wall Saloon.
It's a saloon there, yeah.
It was man, that sucker had.
It was bison or whatever it was.
It was bison. It had bacon on it. It had cream cheese. It had cheddar cheese, raspberry,
like a raspberry jelly.
Yeah, some kind of raspberry. Oh, so good. It all sounds crazy together, but man, we split that burger and we're both full. That sucker was so big.
It was really good.
It was good. We went to Mount Rushmore and learned about Borglum and all of his art and saw the museums and different things. The thing with Mount Rushmore is the locals will tell you, say, okay, well, once you've gone there, you're going to see it. And you're like, okay, well, that's great. And you can go through the Presidential Museum and all that stuff. But there's really not a lot extra to do there. It's breathtaking at first.
Absolutely breathtaking.
And it really is. Even when you're driving up to it, you're like, what the? Oh, my goodness. But the one piece of advice that we did listen to, I mean, we listened to a lot of advice from the locals. That's why we become friends with them, is they said, you want to be there when the sun's coming up. So we got there. Dawn was just breaking as we're pulling in the parking lot. It was still dark in there. And it had snowed up in the mountains the night before. So there was snow all over the ground, some ice. Got up there. We were out on the observation platform as the sun came up and lit the mountain up.
It was beautiful.
Oh, it was just a breathtaking experience.
Highly recommend that. The other good thing, and I don't know if this has changed, but the park was open. You can just drive into it. And we drove in. It's got a big parking garage, and then it's got the pay tellers, the little machines. Of course, the people we paid to go and went out there, looked. We couldn't go down. There's a presidential trail. It was full of ice, and it takes you down where you can go up underneath where the the carvings are. But it was icy.
Oh yeah, we couldn't go to it. It was closed.
Yeah, well, it was so icy because it had snowed. We didn't stay there long because, I mean, it's like you're looking at it and you're like, well, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. But then it's like, wow, this is it.
So, we absolutely would have hiked the trail if it had been open.
Yeah.
We'd have hiked down there to the base of the mountain and gone around. But even the rangers were like, no, we don't even go down there right now because they were opening up while we were there talking. So.
But as we're leaving, geez, we get back in our vehicle and there's maybe 6 or 7 of us there. And a couple park rangers, and they're just now taking down the barriers and stuff like that and get in our vehicle, and we go to drive out, and we don't have to pay we already paid, but we don't have to give the ticket to anybody because the gates are still up.
It was still all open. So if you get there before they open.
Yeah, if you get there before they open, chances are you can go up there, see what you want to see, and leave. It's not that expensive, though, but I thought that was kind of cool, though.
Life hack.
No, I don't know if they still do that because when we were there, they were doing a lot of construction, and they were they added a building, or they were refurbishing one of the buildings out front. But it was beautiful. Highly recommend.
Making room for the final 51st and 52nd state flags.
You're an idiot. Shut up.
Everything was under construction when we were there.
It was great. So Mount Rushmore is a must see. Mm-hmm. You must go see that. And
you can go to Custer National Park, which is on the way.
We didn't go. We didn't get to go.
We couldn't go to Custer either time because it wasn't open. The roads were not passable through the state park. Same with Needles, which is in that same area. So we basically got up early in the morning, drove up there, saw it, and we couldn't go to Crazy Horse because it had snowed the night before. They hadn't cleared the road yet. They said it was another couple hours before they were going to clear the road. So I think one of the rangers told us that.
I don't know. I just know we couldn't go,
but then we went back to.
Now, mind you, this has been years ago, so
it could be different now. Yeah, it's 2 or 3 years.
No,
ago.
Meaning our story. I can't remember the actual why we couldn't go. I know that it snowed, and I know some of the roads were really, really bad. I'm not quite sure if they were shut down or if it was just a caution thing. And here we were in an area that, I mean, we have both driven in snow years before, and here we are in this little 2-wheel front wheel drive, or two-wheel drive car that
driving in snow would have been different in our trucks.
Yeah. So I was like, oh. So I don't remember the stories, but we didn't go to those places because of the weather.
Yeah. So we went and had an awesome breakfast with killer Bloody Marys.
Oh my God, the bloody South Dakota.
That was the Capitol Grill, I think is what
I think it's the Capitol Grill. South Dakota now, when it comes to like drinking, I thought Florida and their mimosas here. No, South Dakota. They believe in mimosa everything.
Oh, every restaurant, even the little breakfast restaurants like Denny's, they had mimosas.
You want mimosas? I mean, just craziness.
And they don't serve them in a little fancy flute. You get it in a mason jar.
Yeah. Well, not all of them, Flint, but
it was all of them.
No, it wasn't. But anyways, at the Capitol Grill, so we got in there. We're like, oh yeah, hell yeah, a Bloody Mary sounds good. The bacon it's still hot because they keep it nice and hot. It's not like just a garnish that's kind of thrown on the side. Huge ass piece of bacon in this thing that you have to like chew like you'd think it's like beef jerky, but it's like a meal in and of itself.
You could have stirred the daggum thing with the bacon.
And it was nice and warm still. I was like, oh my God, this is great. So Capitol Grill was really good. That's in Rapid City.
Yeah. We went to Deadwood a couple of times.
Oh, I love
And when we were there the first year, not all the stores were back open yet because it was just right at the end of COVID. So some of the stores were open. And then we were also dealing with the seasonal things. We were about 3 weeks pre-season. So not a lot of the tourist attractions, things like that we'd like to see were open.
But they did do, it was the wine, Corks, Forks, and Kegs or something like that.
Yeah, Corks, Forks, and Kegs. And we didn't, we found out about it, but it was too late to get tickets. So we were like, well, what are we going to do? Well, forget it. We'll just go up there and walk around. We just won't be able to participate in the event. And we got up there, and there's a lot about Deadwood, but we'll talk about that event to start off for the first time. One, Deadwood is an insanely cool city. That 3 or 4 blocks that is old Deadwood looks like an old West town. I mean, some of the facades are still the same. It's just, it's incredible. It's like you're stepping into a time machine. But we got there, and everybody's in a good mood, and the hustle is very much alive in Deadwood, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I don't remember, was it the 3rd or 4th place that we stopped, and we were like, okay, well, we'd like a drink, we'd like a beer, and there was on the streets they were serving wine, they were serving beer, and it was this event was going on, and the guy that was serving it to us, he goes, well, I got some extra glasses, here you go. So for $2, we didn't have tickets, but we ended up with glasses to the event and were able to participate in the event the whole rest of the time.
That's one of the things we took away from South Dakota. South Dakota has some of the most wholesome, down-to-earth, kind people as a whole.
Oh, yes.
That we've met in all of our places that we've traveled so far. Everybody was treated you like they'd known you forever. Everybody was your friend.
Once they decide they like you.
Well, no, I mean, of course. I mean, who doesn't like us?
I bet there's a list of people out there.
There's a list. We make friends everywhere we go. But oh my gosh, that's one of the things about South Dakota I really liked is we didn't have a bad time we didn't have nothing. Nobody treated us poorly. Even the residents that were there.
Yeah.
Everybody.
The bartenders, shout out to Lindsay and Nicole.
Lindsay and Nicole at Paddy O'Neills. Oh my gosh, girls.
And we're gonna forget some of you guys. Please don't take offense. Yeah, the patrons would talk. You would go into these places for lunch or for dinner, and if they knew you, they'd start talking to you. Oh, I remember you guys, and we got some stories about that too.
Alex was
upstairs
at the Vertex in the Alex Johnson.
Yeah,
was it? Is it Alex?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
And then in Deadwood at the Deadwood Social Club, we were having lunch there, and that's above Saloon Number 12, which is where Wild Bill Hickok was shot. Not in the same location, but any Deadwood local will tell you the history is amazing. But anyway, it's upstairs. Little restaurant. We're sitting there, and we're not.
It was upscale. It was a little upscale restaurant.
And we're not at the bar, but there's a group of people at the bar, and the bartender's there, and he's like, "Well, what do you want?" And he goes, "Well, I don't know. Make me something fancy."
Well, they were in the middle of the Corks.
Oh yeah,
Corks, and so they were still doing. You'd go to all these different places, and you could get your drinks with your glass, and that was one of the places.
But these drinks weren't with the glass. These guys had gotten their drinks, and they were there, and the bartender was just talking. He's like, "Yeah, I make this, I make that." So this group said, "Well, make us something smoked." So then he makes all of these drinks, and there's shots, and there's smoke bubbles on top of them, and just incredibly awesome looking drinks. He was making them scotch. There was smoke. So I remember it was smoked scotch because out of the 5 guys that got him, 4 of them were sipping their scotches. And one guy picked it up and shot it. And I'm like, oh my God. It's like, well, he just wasted that. So
it was busy. It was real busy because they still had the thing going on.
Yeah, not the point of the story.
No, but we ate our lunch and we left and we walked around and we went back.
Well, I told her, I'm like, okay, I want to come back up here later because I want to talk to that guy because I've never seen anything like that in my life. Some of the smoke bubbles had colors in them. It was cool.
I don't remember that, but anyways,
that was his jellyfish sign.
No, they didn't. That was not the smoke. That was just the Shelly. That was in the
some
drink.
Of the drinks. Sorry, some of the drinks had color.
We had a little bit too much wine. I'm just kidding. Talking about your memory for the place.
No wine.
That was the fakest laugh I've ever. We went back and what was his name, Flint?
Jason Ersch, a mixologist.
Okay.
And if you are in Deadwood, go to the Deadwood Social Club, tell him we sent you, and have that man make you a drink. tell him what you like, and he'll make you something like you've never either seen or tasted before.
You better still be there, Jason.
Yeah. Now you got to stay, man.
So we went back down and we were like walking through the town. The town is like, it's so old and the history is just so great. And they got little boutiques for the women to shop and really cool stuff. And in the back of most of the boutiques is either beer taps or wine, which is great for the guys.
Oh, dude, I've never been so excited to go shopping in my life. Every store, hey, you want to go look in here? Let's see what's here. So there's a bar in the back, and it's not like a little bar. There's like a legitimate bar.
It's great. So you got to go there and check out Deadwood. Deadwood has got a lot of history. It's got Mount Moriah Cemetery, where Moira, whatever it is, where Calamity Jane and all them are.
Wild Bill's buried.
Wild Bill, all them are buried, and that's a hike now because when you drive up there, you're like, we were in shape and we were walking up there and the with the elevation and the going almost like it's straight up. We were like, why am I so winded? We just weren't used to the elevation and stuff, but it's beautiful up there.
And worth it.
Yeah.
So worth it even to go up into the cemetery and see the older graves and see those amazing graves and the tributes and the memorials that they've got up there. It's just beautiful. And then you're looking down over the town from Mount Moira.
Yeah.
And you can see the skyline and the different areas. It was beautiful.
So many great things. We couldn't even touch base. Go check out Deadwood. And if next time we go, while we love Rapid City and the people we've met there, we're going to spend probably a couple nights in Deadwood so we can really partake in the nightlife there. Because it's a drive back. I mean, what is it, like 40 minutes back?
But depending on the weather, it's 45 minutes. You have to go through the pass. So if there's bad weather, you go a lot slower.
Yeah. So we want to get there and be able to partake in the nightlife and drink. And that way we can just stay in town. So, I mean, if you don't drink, still stay in town. But, I mean, you don't want to be drinking and driving. So.
And we talk about the bars in the back of each of the boutiques, but also there's a casino in each of the hotels. I mean, it's a very unique city. It's just I've never been anywhere quite like that. The hustle is real.
It's still real. Deadwood. It's just like it was in the late 1800s, early 1900s.
And they don't apologize for it at all. They try and get you to come into their establishment. And we were in one place, and I won't name it because it would not be great for them. But we were looking for some souvenirs. And I'm digging through and I'm setting. I'm like, okay, this got a broken snap on it, and this one's missing a button. So I'm thinking I'm helping and putting the stuff up on the bar or the counter there. And when I went to buy it, I'm like, okay, well, I put these here. They're broken. He goes, just put them back up there. Somebody will buy them, and they're not going to come back, so it doesn't really matter.
I remember that.
It's like, oh my God.
And then he goes, would you like some wine? And that's where I got free wine.
Yeah, that's right.
He gave me some free wine. He goes, come here, I'm going to give you a free glass of wine. I'm like, I'm not driving. Hell yeah.
That was so funny, but it was every time they're trying to sell you this and trying to sell you that. And it was, but it wasn't rude. It was just, and they didn't apologize for it.
The hustle is, I mean, it's still
real in Deadwood. It was very cool.
It's great.
Cool. We could probably do an entire hour on Deadwood alone.
We've been back to Deadwood twice. So
each time.
I love Deadwood. I went so far as looking for like land up there, and it's expensive, but
it is. But there's no place I've ever been like the Black Hills.
No, Black Hills are beautiful. Oh my God, it's so beautiful up there.
Yeah, I get lost in memory because it's like everywhere you drive is just beautiful. If you're a beer person, inside of Rapid City is so many different styles of microbreweries. I know we were at the Firehouse Brewery, which had some incredibly good brews. The Spearfish, they're not in Rapid City, but the Spearfish Brewing Company. There's a lot of different microbreweries up there, and the beers are so good and so flavorful. It's not 1,000 shades of IPA as Florida tends to be.
Or sours. Oh my God.
Or sours, yeah. They each had a couple, but it wasn't saturated. You had lagers and you had wit beers and you had bocks and just a very nice selection if you're a beer drinker.
And then every place there had a very nice selection of wines. Mm-hmm. It was great. So yeah, Deadwood is a must see also.
Yes, Deadwood was fun. Definitely got to go to Deadwood. We did spend some time inside Rapid City.
We did the second time we went.
Yep.
We did because of the weather. And we had already seen a lot of the stuff the first time. And then when the weather got bad, we just said, well, you know what? We're just going to stay here in Rapid. And we did a lot of walking, saw a lot of the breweries.
More of the stuff was open the second time because
Yeah.
it wasn't COVID anymore. So a lot of that, we went to a lot of the different restaurants in town.
Was it Delmonico? What was it around the corner from Rapid?
For her birthday, around the corner from the Alex Johnson is an Italian place called Delmonico's.
Is it Delmonico's?
It's Delmonico's. And it was so good.
And a typical tourist, we got the...
we got dressed up to walk around the corner.
And it was cold, and we got the tomahawk.
Yeah, we got the oh my God. Well, then we were like, what's the best steak on the menu? Oh, the tomahawk's good.
You know, they saw us. They saw us coming, but
they weren't lying, though. Oh my God, that steak was good. But it was huge. They brought it on a platter and it was hanging over the edges. It looked like we were in a movie.
It took forever for it to cook. The guy kept coming back. He goes, I promise, it's almost done, guys. It's almost, and we totally understand. We totally understand. It was so big, we couldn't eat it. But of course, then we're heading back to our hotel. We just got this little, refrigerator in there. And we remember looking at our little waiter, and we're like, do you have a dog? And he goes, I do.
We weren't going to eat it. What were we going to do with that?
We weren't going to eat it.
Room?
And I was like, do you have a dog? He goes, I do. Why? I was like, do you want to take? I mean, there was still, it was the whole bone, of course, for a dog. And there was probably a good 10, 12 ounces of meat still on that.
Yeah,
bone.
that dog isn't the only one that ate off that steak.
He looked at us. He goes, hell yeah, I'll take it.
He goes, yeah, I'll take it. I love this thing. This is my favorite. And they had that kid there. He was still in high school. He was already a chef.
Oh, yeah.
He was
amazing.
There, he was making, it sounds silly to say he was making salads, but this is an upscale restaurant. This kid was just dynamite, flinging this and that. We were talking.
Wasn't he doing desserts too and stuff?
He was prepping is what he was doing, but we were talking to him and he was good at it. It was entertaining to watch. He was having a good time. And he said, he goes, I tried all the typical high school jobs. I just didn't like them. They gave me a chance here. I think he started washing dishes, but he said he wanted to cook, but he was too young. Well, one day a prep guy didn't show up. He got out there, showed him what he could do. He goes, I haven't washed a dish since. He was
pretty good. And the kid had what it takes to make something in life. I mean, his ambition was just exuding out of him.
Yeah. The main chef was talking to him because you can kind of sit around the bar and see them doing their prep, and then the kitchen is open there.
That's where we sat the second time.
They were both talking to us back and forth, and he was like, no, he can, this guy can cook. He goes, you want me to cook your dinner? You want him to cook your dinner? It doesn't matter. You won't be able to tell the difference. At like 16 or 17 years old.
Yeah, it was fun. That was a lot of fun. Yeah. That was a good experience.
Now, and I remember, I think it was earlier in the day. They remind you, it was 80 when we got there, but her birthday was like on a Tuesday.
And it snowed. The only day it snowed.
And it started snowing on her birthday. We're walking. She goes, it'd be great if it snowed on my birthday. And it was like snow globe snow, big fat flakes. And it just started sticking whenever we were walking out. So it was sticking all over her coat and clothes. And typical Florida people, we had on just kind of a thick jacket. But it was just like we ordered it. It was very cool. And yes, it is. It's Delmonico Grill. That's what it is. So if you get the chance here in Rapid City, go check out the Delmonico Grill.
I thought the Delmonico Grill and then the Italian place was two different places. I think it's two different places.
I don't know.
I think the Italian place is down the street from it, and that's where the one kid worked.
I thought it was the same place, but maybe not.
No, I think it's two different places. So
yeah, we'll clarify it in the show notes.
I'm correct. Oh my gosh.
I need to clarify now. What do you mean?
So after we did all that, there was one day, this was our second trip there. We decided to drive over to Wyoming.
Yeah, this is the second year.
To see Devil's Tower. And did you know, I think Devil's Tower is the very first, I think let's see, Devil's Tower, I think it's the very first national park.
That would have made Teddy Roosevelt dedicating it.
It was, I'm almost positive it was the very first one. So I don't have it on here.
Oh.
So I want to look that up. But so we drove to Devil's Tower, and it's a good haul. It's a couple hours.
No, it's like 4 hours.
4 hours.
It's worth the drive.
It's a couple hours. Anyways, we get there and we're like winding around and it's flat. And every once in a while you go down through this, the between the mountains and you come back up. And we're looking, and I'm looking off into the in front of us, and I was like, "Holy crap, Flint! Look at that!" And it was the tower, and it was small, but it was big. I cannot even explain it to you because you can tell that it's like I don't even know how many miles away until you can see it. I'm sure you can look that up.
And if you come at it, you can come at it from two different directions. Obviously, you can go around through Rushmore. And you're right. It was 4 hours. If you went around through Rushmore, it's an hour and a half, 2 hours the way we went. You can see it from miles and miles away, like 20 miles away.
And I can't even explain it. It's so small, but yet so big.
Well, it looks big from a long ways away. You just get closer and it keeps getting bigger and bigger
and bigger and bigger.
And Native Americans called it the Bear Lodge.
The Bear Lodge, because the story, something about the story, the bear was the columns that are
the basalt columns.
I don't think they're salt.
Basalt.
Oh, basalt. The ridges in it was from a bear. The bear's claws. That was one of the legends. They have a little place there that you can go and walk through all the Native American legends and the history, and such a cool place. But I'm trying to think. What is it? It's 1,267
feet
tall. Yeah, it is huge. And you got a trail that you can walk around and go up to it. And people climb it every year. I mean, a lot of climbers go out there. And the one thing I learned with our travels, all the national parks, there's, every place has the souvenirs and they have the cups.
Mm-hmm.
Who was it that somebody does the clay and makes the cups for the national parks.
Hey, you look that up. I don't remember.
I can't remember who it was, but all the parks have their own dedicated cups for it. And I got one from the Badlands and I got one from Devil's Tower. Yeah. And I didn't want to put them in my suitcase on the way back. So I put them in my backpack, and my backpack fell off the back of the door in the airport and busted one of them. I was so sad.
Oh, yeah. And you can't order them.
No, you can't order them. It's like they send them, and if you get one, you get one. And
I think it was the Badlands one that broke, wasn't it?
No, I have the Badlands one, I believe. I don't know. It's one of them. I don't even know. I can't remember. But so that's a cool little fun fact that all the national parks have those cups that you can get that are certain company makes them for them.
The Italian place is Sabatino's.
That's it. See, I told you.
I was wrong.
Again. Sabatino. And it's phenomenal food, guys. I mean, I love Italian. And I'm not Italian, but I love Italian. I love Italian. Every once in a while, I'll look at Flint, and he does not like pastas. So I was like, "Can we go get some Italian?" It's maybe I've been lucky this time. We've went to the Italian restaurant here in Orange Park twice in the last month. I've been, I guess, good.
You're making Nicole, our producer, hungry. She likes Italian food too.
Oh my gosh, it was.
She's also the one proving Des right in the background, by the way.
Girl power.
I feel like they're ganging up on you. It's not fair.
So anyways, back on track. So Wyoming was fun. And again, we were there was it a Sunday? Because everything was closed.
Which time?
When we went to see Devil's Tower. We only been to Devil's Tower one time.
Yeah, I think it was a Sunday. I think it was.
Because nothing was open, and that little store around the corner.
The restaurant was closed.
Oh my God. We could have got ice cream or just snacks.
Oh, and so we bought fudge. Nothing else.
We don't even like sugar. But I was like, we're getting fudge.
I was like, what?
It made it back to Florida.
Yeah, because we had like 2 bites and we're in a damn sugar coma driving back.
Oh God, it was great. It was great, guys. Beautiful area. And then, of course, everybody there was just as nice as can be, again, in Wyoming.
Yep. That was, we got lots of, the clerk at the store told us, they said, well, there's a place over across the way that had some yellow lines paint on it. They were photograph places where if you had certain kind of cameras, you could go and stand and zoom in. It was like perfect unobstructed view. She goes, they've got booths set up where you got to wait in line for that kind of stuff. She goes, but it's off season. You just go stand over there. If you do this, you'll get a perfect picture.
I don't remember that.
We didn't, that might've been why you were selecting your fudge and I was standing up there talking to her.
Maybe. I think you're talking smack. I don't know.
No, there was, I don't remember, but
It's
yeah.
it's all right.
So we couldn't eat until we got back. So it was like 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, but it was
nothing
fun.
in between Rapid City. Well, depending on which way you go, there's just nothing in between. Even if it's a couple small towns, everything's closed.
Yeah. So there is a little restaurant across the street from the Alex Johnson. It's on the corner there. It's the one that has the mimosas and
Oh yeah.
I can't remember what is the name? You know what? We're so bad we didn't even look these up. Anyways, they have a night that you can go in and it's certain hours and it's what is that? What do they call that, Flint? The
Indecision dinner.
indecision dinner, and you can pick however many entrees or whatever it was.
You pay by course. You can have a 5-course meal.
Oh, that's
a
right.
7-course meal or an 8-course meal or whatever it was for that night.
And we were thinking courses, and we're thinking, okay, from the South, they're going to bring us platters of food. So I think we took the smallest one, which was fine. And the chef makes your meals, whatever he feels for that evening. And that's what you
don't
eat.
get to pick, and you don't know what you're eating.
You don't know what you're going to eat.
They bring it to you.
And you don't get to pick it. And that, I can't stand liver. As a kid, my dad used to eat liver all the time. I just can't stand the texture. It just, So one of the things that we got was foie gras. Is that how you say it? Foie gras.
Foie gras.
And it's duck liver. And let me tell you what, guys, I will tear that up every single time. I was eating it. I was like, what is this? And the guy goes, it's foie gras. And I was like, what is that? He goes, duck liver. And I just kind of looked at him.
I do want some duck liver.
Like, oh my God. But it was, oh my God, that was the best. That was the best meal. And we ended up sitting by this guy who is the one that told us to get the meal, the indecision dinner.
He was there earlier.
And he travels the world. He had his own bottle of wine there. He travels the world. He is who does he write for, Flint?
He was a writer for a couple of magazines. He had his own blog. If I can find the link to it, we'll post it up. I don't remember right off the top of my head.
He was the most kind man. I mean, just explaining everything. He goes there. He brings his friends there. I think he brought his mother there a few times. He was not from the area, but been there enough where he knew everything about the place. Because that was one of the things he does. He writes about stuff like that. And he ended up sharing his bottle of wine with us. And it was a nice, expensive bottle of wine. Because you can bring your own wine there if you want. So he brought his own wine. And we just sat there for probably a good hour and a half and just spoke with this man. Very intelligent man.
It's Tally's Silver Spoon.
Okay, Silver Spoon. And in the morning, if you go and you want to do breakfast and or lunch, they have this huge round table in the back. And it's called the...
it's a continental seating, or
I don't remember what it's called. It's like a group set,
community table,
something like that. And they said, "Well, do you want to sit?" Well, I think it is a community table. Do you want to sit at the community table? And we're like, "Well, what is it?" And they said, everybody sits around a round table, and if you want to talk, you can talk. If not, I was like, "Hell yeah, put us at the community table." And after we'd sat at it one time, we sat there every time.
It became the highlight of the breakfast, that's for sure.
Every place should do that. I mean, I think they had sat, like 12 people in the back, 10 or 12 people.
Something like that, yeah.
You didn't know who you were going to sit with and when they were going to get up and another couple would kind of come in or a single person and everybody just talked and had breakfast or lunch. It was a great little place.
And good food.
Oh, yeah, it was really good
solid food.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to say it was expensive, but I don't remember how many mimosas I drank, so.
It was not. It was not expensive, but it's really good. I guess that's subjective. What do you think? But it's not. It's not.
No, it wasn't. And they were open all the time. I mean, I know they closed in the evening, but
yeah,
there was whenever you got up, or they were up early, it didn't matter. We ate everything on the menu at Paddy's. We ate most everything on the menu at Vertex, and Vertex has a charcuterie board that it filled half the freaking table.
That's one of the best things on there.
Oh my God.
If you're just drinking and just snacking and talking and meeting people, get that charcuterie board, just sit there because you're going to take half of it back to your room.
We ate on that thing for 3 days.
It was great.
That was definitely a good value. And then I think the first night we were there and we'd been traveling all day. We got there and we had their bison burger there. And that sucker, I swear it was that thick.
Yeah, we sat out there.
Yeah.
We sat out on the outside patio by the burners, the fire burners, and we ended up talking to a bunch of people out there.
A bunch of locals.
Okay, before we leave, I got to tell this story. So the second time we were there, the last night, we had been to Deadwood earlier in the day, and I had ended up buying me a really nice cowboy hat. There was
American
red, white,
flag.
had red, white, and blue band on it. It was beautiful. I loved it. And so we got back. I don't even know if it was the first or second time we went, but anyways, I bought it at Deadwood, and we came back.
This is the last night we're there.
This is the last night we're there. And we came back and we're like partying at Paddy's, going up to Vertex, party. Because if you stay on site, you can go back and forth to the two. If you are a local, then you buy it's like a monthly thing, and you can go up and down and go to the Vertex.
Vertex is a membership club.
So anyways, we're going back and forth, and we're up top at one of our points, and we meet a bunch of people sitting outside and got to talking to them, partying with them. And we all were going back and forth to the bars. They were TSA from the local airport, security
from the airport.
There was a pilot we were partying with because he was Nome was in town for a fundraiser. And he had brought he was a pilot for one of the ranchers that come over from Montana or something. So he was staying in the hotel while they did their stuff. So we partied with this pilot. Just such fun people. And we partied really hard into the night, knowing we were leaving the next day. So we get up the next morning, we get all checked out. We get to the hotel, we get to the airport.
Tell about the dilemma while we were packing.
What was the dilemma?
She's like, what am I going to do with this hat?
Oh, God.
Because we were full. I mean, we brought an extra bag to bring souvenirs and stuff, and we shipped some stuff home too. But it was full. I mean, I'm like, you're gonna have to wear it.
He says, unless you want it ruined, you're gonna have to wear it. I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm wearing my cowboy hat. So we leave that morning.
and this thing is obnoxious.
It is not obnoxious. It's great. No, it's great. So, anyways, we leave and we get to the airport, and the people we had partied with the night before, that was with TSA and security. They were so hungover.
The ones that showed up to work.
And we're walking through and we're just like side-eyeing them. They're side-eyeing. It was great, guys. It was the best. And this is a really small regional airport. So we get through security and we get into the terminal.
The one security guard's like, I'm surprised y'all made it.
We get out. We get to the terminal and there's a little bar area. I mean, I'm telling you, it's a really small regional airport.
Oh, she did not want to have a drink. She's like, oh, God.
So we get there, we sit down at the bar, and Flint goes, I'm getting something to drink. And I'm like, nope, I didn't get anything to drink.
No.
He goes, you want something? I was like, absolutely not. I was so hungover. And here I am wearing this damn cowboy hat. And I sat there and I looked at Flint and I was like, I don't even know what we ate for dinner last night.
Or where.
And behind me, I hear this guy go, oh, you were at Paddy O'Neills.
You ate dinner at Paddy's.
And I turned around and I was like, how do you know? He goes, I remember the hat.
Y'all were talking to everybody.
He goes, you were just hopping around table to table, just talking to everybody, having a good time. He goes, it was great.
He was laughing at us. He said at one point you sat down, there was like 6 of you. You sat down at a table with another couple.
Well, of course we did.
Picked them up. They joined your group and went upstairs.
It was great, guys. I mean, it's so much fun there. But he bought Flynn a couple drinks. I don't even know if he was on our flight out because I was and here I am with this damn cowboy hat.
We sat there for an hour or two talking to him because we were there way early.
Yeah, we were, well, of course, because that's a prerequisite for me. But so, yeah, that was the night we were leaving. It was great. Oh, you were at Paddy's.
You ate dinner at Paddy O'Neills.
I remember the hat.
You had fish and chips. Y'all were fun. That was cool. So that was a combination of our 2 adventures in South Dakota.
Why did you still pause down?
There were more. Well, we don't need any more co-hosts in here.
We got 2 cats running around here, guys.
So we man, if we can remember some more stories, we'll throw them up on here as a bonus episode. I think we've got some. So listen, we love you guys. Look for some more cool content coming up. We're going to be recording some fun stuff here over the next couple of days. So love y'all. Thank you for joining us. Make sure that you hit the like and subscribe button for more. Share us with people. And if you want to hear some more ridiculous about what is our life, then give us a follow. Follow us on the other social medias. We put exclusive content on each platform. So love y'all. Peace.